Today is Thursday, August 28th, 2025, and it is Yom Hamishi, 5th day of the week, the 4th day of Elul, by 785. The Parsha of the week is Parshat Shoftim. Daf Yomi, the Daf is Avodah Zarah 71, and on the Islamic calendar it is the 5th day of Rabi al-Awwal, which is the 3rd month in the Islamic calendar. And this Rabi al-Awwal, it drifts to different points in the year. It could be in springtime, it could be in the late summer, almost the fall, like it is right now. Because there's a drift in the Islamic calendar. And this, in the Islamic calendar, is my newest addition to the PL-89 calendar, which you're seeing right now. The PL-89 calendar is a calendar that holds many calendars. It is what I call a gematriatic quantum thought calendar, which means that thoughts are calculated numerically, gematriatically as it were, in a orderly and timely fashion, and the idea is to concentrate thought and to make connections faster and more acutely, to hasten the process of redemption and the arrival, appearance of the Messiah and Mashiach ben David. And this calendar is both a lunar and solar calendar. It deals with it has the Gregorian calendar, the reason that it's today, August 28th, and the Hebrew calendar, the reason that it's the 4th day of Elul, and the 5th day of Rabi al-Awwal. It's also lunar. I don't think they have a leap year in the same way that the Jewish calendar has a leap year, so the months drift because it's a lunar calendar. And the idea is to find things in the day. Well, just before I start that, a rule should be stated that, well, no, maybe just to say the idea, yeah. The idea is that any thought whatsoever, it doesn't matter if it's learning Torah, if you're davening, if you're anything you think about, even secular things, even, to make a separation, of course, but not to put them together. But any thought can be expressed in numbers, and numbers are found here, and every number is found here, except for fractions. Every whole number, 1 through 10 trillion, is all here. And the reason why that is that the rule is because the rule of 40, which this calendar is based on 40. And of course, by extension, it's based on 80. These are 80 boxes, but it's 2 40s. And it goes by an addition sequence of 8 and 9, the principles and rules of this calendar are based on verses in the Bible. It's all biblically based. The reason why it's 8 and 9 comes from a passage in the book of Leviticus, chapter 25, around verse 20, that talks about the sabbatical year. And after the sabbatical year, the next cycle, it mentions the 8th and 9th year. It says that in the Torah, in the verse. And so 8 and 9 became highlighted, and 8 and 9 is the basis of this calendar. So the box 1 is not 1. Box 1 is 8. The next box is 17, because 8 plus 9 is 17. So it's like 8, 17, 25, 34, and it's based on 40. So it cuts off at 40, and then it goes 2, 11, 19, 28, like that. That's how this calendar goes. And the reason for that, or reasons for that, are still being revealed every day. Even after 13 years of doing this calendar, and studying it and trying to apply it in different ways and different contexts, and I'm still learning new things about it all the time. And so I think, as with any creative process, an artist will learn more about their craft as the years go on, and it never really ends. But As it stands now, it's a gematria thought calculator and enhanced memory device tool, memory tool. And I'll give you a few examples of how it can be used. Okay, so today is obviously it's August 28th, and we're in box 38 on the calendar. And there's rules when you start from it, when you start from the beginning, and those are based on the different kinds of months. And we're just about at the end of the third dispensation. The first dispensation, it started in 2012, went through 8 years. And then the next dispensation, it basically halved. It was 8 years, and then the next dispensation was 4 years. That correlated exactly to the time of Corona/COVID. It was called Corona in the beginning, so we'll go with that. Corona, which was March of 20, until, a couple of years was the main part, but some after effects were, 4 years, and then I would say like even in 24 it was basically over, but anyway, it went for 4 years, and then the third dispensation started from the springtime of 24, and it seems like it should be lasting, if it's following that pattern, then it would last for 2 years, so it would be in the springtime of 2026 is when that will end. So 8, 4, 2, and since we're in 2, that puts us at 38 today. Here. On the Hebrew calendar, it is the 4th of Elul, so the 4th will be on box 9. And in the Islamic calendar is 1 day ahead, because they don't have we had 30th day of Av. To them, in the Islamics, they did the first day of Rabi Alawal on that day. Like our Rosh Chodesh was still 30th Av, so technically it was Av, but on that day, they did 1 of Elul, which interesting, sounds like Elul. So it's very fascinating. I like these little pun things because they look like they're cute and they're a little silly, but they're true and they're there. What are the chances that with the Islamic calendar drifting, and this is the first time that I decided to do this Islamic thing for many other reasons, that because everything is just for reasons, gematria, numeric reasons. And whatever the reasons are, I started the Islamic calendar on the month where Elul, Rabi Elul, comes in Elul. So it's just for me that's a good sign. It's a sign that I'm supposed to be doing it. But anyway, the interesting thing about today. So what I'll do is I'll see the number 38, I'll see the number 9, and then the process is that you add them together. So then the numbers for the day, according to this calendar, would be 38 and 9. I'm only doing the Hebrew and the Gregorian. I don't add the Islamic number, because the Islamic number is first of all, it's new, and I'm just learning about it. So, and maybe I'll add it in the future, but for now, it's just Gregorian, Hebrew, and put it together, and you get 47. 38 and 9 is 47. If I added Rabi Alawal, it would be 47 plus 17, 57, 64. Anyway, it's 47 today. So there's a lot of really amazing things about that. So, which I'll try to cover briefly, but what I'll do is it's an analysis of the Siddur, the Hebrew prayer book. So what I'll do is I'll look inside the Hebrew Siddur, and I didn't state I think I briefly stated it, I'll state it again. The rule of 40 is that any one of these boxes, let's say, in this case, the number 38, which is today, right? August 28th, or Av 28th, or Rabi, or Safar, when it was Safar, it was, which is the Islamic, it was all in the same box, because lunar and solar, same box, unifies, okay? 38 is seen as 78, is seen as 118, is seen as 158, is seen as 198 ad infinitum until 2,038,000,038 or 2,000,000,038. That's why you have every number, because in each box the rule of 40 states that 40 plus that number is considered that number. In a way, I guess to use the word, truncates it. It makes it collapse. And 38 is known in this as the patriarch. It's the patriarch, or the matriarch, depending on how you want to see it, but it's the root ancestor of every ramification in its downline. So if 38 is the patriarch or the matriarch, then 78 is the first son or daughter. And 118 is the grandson or granddaughter, and so forth. And the reason why I pause is because just today I learned about a verse in the book of Judges, chapter 3, verse 11, during the time when Othniel ben Kenaz had victory. I didn't read the whole thing, so it says, Vayihi Sheket, something Sheket Arbaim Shana, Vayishketu, something Arbaim Shana. There was 40 years of quiet, of peace. So that 40 years of peace is also known as, in some opinions in the Bible, as a generation. Arbaim Shana Akud Bedor. It says in Psalm 95, I was angry with this generation. Psalm 95 or 97, maybe 95, one of those. But anyway, 40 is the basis for many other reasons, but that just came to mind because someone mentioned it today in a video I was watching, that it was quiet for 40 years. Okay? So, 638, I'll say that number, and so I think 638, I said 38. 38 is the same as 638, because if you add 40 to 38, you'll eventually get to 638, right? And it's really easy just to add 200s. Once you get to 238, you can add 200s. And that way you can scroll through your own mental database of the gematrias that you know. So what I'll do is, I'll have a Sidur, if you can see it, all the numbers are gematriatized. Many, many pages, not all of it, not the whole Sidur, but so that way I can learn gematria in the davening. And so when I daven, I can connect with the PL-89 calendar and make connections of the families, of the generations of words. So I'll show you where this comes into play, where it's very useful. People who daven every day in the regular Hebrew Sidur, whether you're Sephardic or Ashkenazic, you're going to be saying this prayer. Vayivarech David. It comes towards the end of Sukkot Zimra. As you can see, or maybe you can't see, but Vayivarech has a numerical value of 238. So when I reckon it according to this calendar, it means that I'm seeing that Vayivarech is 38. Because it's 238, so I'm just seeing 38. 38 is the patriarch that holds, as it were, all of the words in it. So if I see Vayivarech, I'm seeing 38. And then I think Rachel, the name Rachel in Hebrew, is equal to 238 as well. So if I see Vayivarech David, I would connect Rachel right away. How is Rachel connected to David? Well, she was the sister of David's great-grandmother, Leah. Okay? But there's a lot, as much gematria as you know, you'll start to see the connections very well. Why? Because there's another thing that was written in the Torah about this sister, who was the grandmother of King David, Leah, because Leah's son was Yehuda and was eventually King David. Hapa'am ode es Hashem. This time, as Havaya, Yud Hei Vav Hei. This time I will thank God. This is when Leah gave birth to Judah. And that's why his name is Judah, Yehuda. And that's why, King David is in the tribe of Yehuda. And that was his ancestor. But let's see here. Hapa'am ode es Hashem equals 638. But in the PL-89 calendar, it's just like 38. It's just like 238. So I thought of Rachel, but I'm instantly connecting with her sister who said, Hapa'am Odes Hashem, which equals 638, which again is in the same family. Isn't that interesting? How did that happen? It's just very interesting. Okay, another gematria is Avraham plus Yitzchak plus Yaakov, the three forefathers, equals to 638. Another phrase in the Torah, it says when the brothers saw Joseph and coming to them in Dotan, it says, look who's coming here, this dreamer of dreams. The phrase in the Bible, in Hebrew, is Baal HaChalamot Halazeh. And Halazeh is a very unusual phrase. It's unusual. Halazeh, I think it's only used one more time with Isaac when Rebecca said, "Who is this person?" But Baal HaChalamot Halazeh equals 638. That's Yosef, who was the son of Rachel, who was 238, which is in the same as 638. Do you kind of see how that's going? And so on and so forth. So that's there. So you have Vayivarech, you have 638. I would think about 838. I mean, a verse comes to mind. Melech beyofyo techazena einecha. The king in his beauty, your eyes will see. I just remember that from a certain teaching given by Rabbi Yitzchak Ginsburg, and that phrase equals 838. So now I can connect that verse to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to Rachel, to Leah. I mean, these are things that we all know, but I found, and maybe others have found too, that when numbers are connected, there's some kind of a glue. It makes things stick more, is sort of the illustration that comes to mind. So that's a way, those are examples of how you can enhance the gematriatic connectivity. Now, I just saw the word Mitzrayim here, and it reminded me of Lubavitch. Why did Mitzrayim remind me of Lubavitch? Because Mitzrayim equals Lubavitch. That's by no means saying that Lubavitch is Egypt, but if you look deep enough, you can find a connection. Because all of Israel did go to Mitzrayim, and they came out of Mitzrayim as a nation. The Israelites, the descendants of Jacob, 70 souls went into Egypt. And Lubavitch, really, the concept is to gather all the Jews. I mean, they're really, if there's something about Achdus or they don't care what type or stripe you are. They want to unite all the Jews. So, and they really put their money where their mouth is there, and they're known for that. So there's a connection between Mitzrayim in a good way and Lubavitch. Lubavitch, the way it's spelled, Lamed Yud Vav Liyu Bet Aleph Vet Tet Shin. Oh, Vav Tet Shin. Oh, there's a Yud there. But anyway, you can put in the calculator, you'll see the main way you spell Lubavitch is 380. Now, I just saw someone talking about Lubavitch and their emphasis on Mashiach. Now, what's interesting is that Lubavitch equals 380, but in Mispar Seder, in order number, it's 83. But in Mispar Katan, it's 38. So 38 is also in the same box here, it's 38. But if you take 38 in its upline, then it's going to equal Mashiach. And who is known to be so much about Mashiach? Lubavitch. Okay, Lubavitch is 38. Mashiach is 358, but a descendant, meaning a great-grandson of 38, is going to be 358 by the rule of 40. Why? Let's just count. 38 plus 40, 78, plus 40, 118, plus 40, 158, plus 40, 198, plus 40, 238, like we just said, plus 40, 278, plus 40, 318, plus 40, 358. 358 equals Mashiach. So we see that Lubavitch equals Mashiach here in this calendar. But even if you didn't have this calendar, you don't need this calendar to tell you that there's a connection between. I can throw this calendar out and everyone's going to recognize that Lubavitch is connected to Mashiach in a major way. So what this is good for is showing that things that we all know, that are well known without numbers, using the same process to maybe hone in on things that are not so well known, because it's reassured to bring forth truths that we can observe with our eyes, and maybe can shine a flashlight on things that we haven't seen that much. So that's for that. There's always more stuff, so I've made a concession to add if it comes up in the following videos, and the Tekus and Avyomis. And so there we are, 38, so many things. But anyway, we're on the fourth day of Elul, which is 9. 9 is 49, is 89, is 129, 169, 209, 249, 289, 329, 369, 409. 409 is Avot, as in forefathers. Now, do you see how I was doing that? I was scrolling up to see when my mind would detect any of the gematrias that I already know by heart. So I happen to know that Avot, Aleph, Bet, Vav, Taf, equals 409. But 409 in the PL-89 is 9, because the rule of 40 allows 9 to be 409 or 4 trillion and 9. It doesn't matter. As long as you're adding 40 to that 9, you'll be there. You'll be in that box. So I just was going up the line through. I went through the patriarch, and then I started going down in his downline through all his descendants. 9, 49. I mean, I knew some gematria at 49, but I know it was applicable. But when I stopped at 409, I said Avot is applicable. Why? Do you remember just a few minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, when I was telling about Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov? Those were the Avot. So the same day that the Avot came up in box 38 is the same day, which was August 28th, is today for Elul, and it's Avot. So Avot are Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. You see another connection was made. I think by now you might be seeing how this thing is supposed to work. And I mean, in my mind, in my imagination, I've seen some amazing things, but it would take time to get. Imagine having all the words that are in Judaism you could work with, all the words that are in Torah, and you'd be able to see the connections between everything, and it goes even deeper. It goes into science, mathematics, physics. So many things are connected because everything is connected in some way.